What is going on, everyone? It's Nick from Breaking the Clutch. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Yes, the patch notes, the official ones, the second part of it has just dropped, and holy shit, it's the biggest patch notes list I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm going to try to break it down as best I can. I've got my coffee. Let's run through this. This literally might take 20-30 minutes. If you have looked at it or you want to see the actual patch notes aside from this video, link in the description as always. Yeah, let's just jump right into it, alright? And thank you, Sketch, for providing this as quickly as you possibly could. So here we go. Balance update for June 29th. This will be released tomorrow, not to be confused with the patch notes and the DLC that dropped today on Wednesday the 28th. Alright, heroes. All hero units have been adjusted to make them more powerful and available more quickly and be a potent force in the early, mid, and late game. They are more vulnerable initially, but are also more powerful when upgraded, so protecting them will pay off as they gain veterancy. Heroes have been balanced between leaders to make them more competitive with each other. Lower armor benefits and increased damage from Tier 3 vehicles and artillery, while garrison makes it easier to pry them out of their defenses. Alright, here we go. We've got Spartan, Alice, Jerome, and Douglas. So the Spartans all getting the same thing here, and I imagine that they were pretty much the same stat line all the way across. But for these, before the patch notes, so starting HP reduced 50%, basic DPS increased 67%, cost decrease from 450 to 250, nearly cut in half. So obviously they are making their, a good promise, or making through with their promise on making these guys more available in the early game. Build time reduced from 40 to 30 seconds, upgrade cost reduced from 400, 600, 800 to 300. So again, cutting them nearly in half there. 30 to 40% in half right there for the power. Upgrade effects reworked. Upgrade 1 damage bonus increased 4%. All right, I'm gonna let you guys just take a look at that one, because I could spit out what you guys are saying right here. But look, if you pretty much what you get with the Spartans, they start off weak with every other hero unit. As you upgrade them and keep them alive longer, gain that veterancy, you're looking at the stat lines and how they'll increase right there. Looks like this game is changing for the absolute better. Happy to see that the hero units are going to be made more viable more early on, and hopefully, I'm hoping, Consano, I see you down there. I hope you. Oh, yep, flame wall. All right, I'm jumping ahead. Let's go straight to the Forge Hog. I've never actually seen anyone use the Forge Hog before, but starting HP reduced 40%. Again, they're continuing, making them extremely weak and vulnerable. So if you do see a hero unit in the early game, take him out as quickly as possible. Don't let him sit around. Basic autocannon DPS, which DPS is damage per second, is increased 68%. Basic Cobra Cannon DPS increased 67%. Cost decreased from 500, 400 to 250, 220. Aligns pretty well with the Spartans. Build time reduced from 45 to 30 seconds. Upgrade cost reduced from 450, 650, 850 to 325. Again, cutting it like 30-40% right there. And upgrade effects reworked as listed right there. I really want to just jump right into this game now and figure out what the best hero unit is. Here we go. My favorite, all sarcasm aside. Here we got Consano's Cyclops. Starting HP reduced 33%. Basic flamethrower DPS increased 66%. Basic anti-infantry flamethrower DPS increased 66%. Basic anti-building flamethrower DPS increased 43%. If you recall, I think they nerfed Consano by 70%. So we're not getting Consano back to its original, at least with the base. At least with base. I'm sure if you upgrade it more, and as you see right there by upgrade 3, it'll pretty much be back to where it was. It should be back to where it was before the patch notes on, I think in May. Should be back to where it was, where if you bring up Consano's flame wall up to an enemy base, you can rinse it very quickly. Of course, that'll take some upgrades, which this is exactly how it should be. You shouldn't be able to just walk out a unit from a base and have it, or a pad, and rinse an entire base. This is more effective in the long run in keeping a clean meta across the board. It looks like what they're trying to do here with, and I haven't seen the entire list of patch notes, going through this with you guys as I speak, but it looks like that hopefully we have 12 leaders that are all viable, all playable, and we just have a shit ton of strategies that come out of this. And I mean, that's what the hope is, right? Let's go ahead and continue right here. Sergeant Johnson, starting HP reduced 50%, basic minigun DPS increased 67, as well as the artillery. Cost decreased from 450 to 200, 250. Build time reduced from 40 to 30 seconds. Upgrade, again, nearly cut 20-30% on that one. And the upgrades effects reworked as listed right there. Commander Jerome, none other. Starting HP reduced, and interesting that they reduced them that quickly. You think they would have just put that in before the patch, but that's fine. Commander Jerome, starting HP reduced 50%. Basic Hydra DPS increased 54%. Basic Hydra vehicle DPS increased 55%. Jerome's Mantis laser DPS increased 50%, and his Mantis missile launcher DPS increased 60%. If you have not had a chance to play as Jerome, or with Jerome's hero yet, it's probably the coolest leader that this game will ever have, or a hero unit, I should say, that this game will ever have. Cost decreased from 550, 450 to 350, 250. Build time reduced from 400, from 40 to 30 seconds. Upgrade again. Upgrade cost reduced 600, 800, 1,000 to 450, 600, 750. And the upgrade effects listed right there below in case you want to. And again, if you see the upgrade, the details of the upgrades, go ahead, go into a custom game, pick your favorite leader, and check out your hero unit and do your own tests on this stuff, because that's really the only way. It's going to take a lot of checks and balances to figure out what the best leader is, because right now these are all numbers on a screen. How do they actually play, though? That's the real question, and that's something that I think Pat and myself are going to have to jump into for I guess a couple weeks to come now, because there are so many things to talk about. Here we go. Brute Warlord, starting HP reduced 25%. That sounds like it didn't start off with that much to begin with. Hammer DPS increased 72%. Cost decreased 450, 400 to 200, 250. Build time reduced from 40 to 30. And again, upgrade effects reworked listed below. Atriox is chosen. Starting HP reduced 44%. Brute Shot DPS increased 72%. Again, the cost of it decreased nearly half across the board. Build time reduced 40 to 30. And again, the upgrade cost reduced accordingly. We're seeing this very clear across the board. They were not joking about keeping everyone on a level playing field, at least based on these stat lines. Just from what I'm assuming, we're looking at a pretty balanced hero list across the board. Elite Honor Guard, starting HP reduced 50%. Sword DPS increased 66%. Cost decreased from 450, 400 to 200, 275. I think that's the highest one with the power now, or hero unit with power. Build time reduced from 40 to 30, and again, the upgrade effects reworked listed down below. Hunter Captain, starting HP reduced 50%, starting SP reduced 6%, and Beam DPS increased 29%, Beam Lifesteal reduced 24%, cost decreased 450, 400 to 200, 225, and build time, of course, reduced to 30 seconds. Upgrade effects reworked listed down below. And then we've got the Airbiter. Here we go, starting HPS, starting HP reduced 50%, Sword DPS increased 66%, Rage Sword DPS increased 52%, cost decreased from 550, 450 to 350, 250, which I think is the most collectively for a hero unit. So keep an eye on the Arbiter being the probably the best, if based on cost right there. Build time reduced from 40 to 30, and then of course upgrade effects reworked listed down below. Hero veterancy, all hero veterancy requirements increase. Level 1 vet 108%. You're getting a double. Your leader just becomes double stat line across the board. Level 2, another 100%, so 3 times what you had to begin with. And then of course level 3, 67% increase. So by the end of this whole thing, and let's think about this for a second. Spartan Jerome has an ability to give veterancy. He gains units veterancy. He has a little scope with it, and he can click on 5-6 units and he can gain them veterancy. If you click on your hero with that, say they're level 1 already, you can get them to level 2 with just a click of a button, and look at the damage and the health, everything across the board, what that can do for Spartan Jerome in particular, because there are no other leaders that have that ability to my knowledge. Garrison heroes. Damage versus heroes in garrisons increase for tier 3 vehicles and artillery units. Please see the next post below. Yes, we will. Sketch right here. Finally, buildings and units. Wow, that was an entire page of just hero units. So what pretty much to sum that up, Sketch said we're trying to balance everything across the board with hero units, trying to make them more viable in the beginning and have them, trying to make them weaker in the beginning, but you can bring them in earlier, and the longer you keep them in, the more beneficial it is across the board for you. And he is absolutely correct. Based on those stats, it looks like every hero unit is viable. I'm really hoping down below we see something very similar going across the board with all the leaders and making all 12 of them viable. Here we go. Buildings and units. Choppers and Jackrabbits have been adjusted to bring them closer to each other. Thank you. Jackrabbits now have guns without requiring an upgrade, which makes them and UNSC leaders more competitive against banished units from the start of the match. Ram damage has also been reduced to balance the impact of those attacks on tier 1 units. Sorry, I had to get a little drink of the coffee here. All right, Chopper, health and damage lowered slightly. Build time slightly increased, or build time increased by 1 second. Okay, HP reduced 13%, DPS reduced 15%. Upgrade no longer increases speed or HP. So just damage there on that end if you upgrade it. Build time again increased by 1 second. How do they compare to the Jackrabbit? So Jackrabbit health and damage increased slightly. DPS increased 14%, HP increased 9%. Jackrabbits now start with guns by default. Gun upgrades no longer needed. It was strange that was ever the case to begin with, but nonetheless, Jackrabbit drone upgrade costs increased from 350 to 450, and time from 25 to 30 seconds. So yeah, the matching very well with the choppers, and I think the shrapnel mine, or the shrapnel rounds, not shrapnel mines, shrapnel rounds upgrade is 450 if I recall, and that's power. Ram damage reduced against hero units, infantry, and scout units. Ram damage versus heroes reduced 63%. Ram damage versus infantry reduced 28%. Ram damage versus scouts reduced 45%. Ram is a little more responsive and has less wind-up time. Okay, thank you. Choppers would practically be useless for about 3 or 4 seconds once you click the Y button or their special ability. Key Tier 2 vehicles, Mantis, Warthog, and Marauder, have been adjusted to improve their impact and cost effectiveness in the mid and late game, while Tier 3 UNSC vehicles, Colossus, Grizzly, Kodiak, are now more powerful to improve their competitiveness against their banished counterparts. Reavers have increased rate of fire, which makes them a more potent anti-air threat, and Shrouds are less effective at intercepting projectiles, requiring more of them to achieve the same levels of protection. Mantis, health and damage increased. HP increased 20%, DPS increased 10%. Colossus, HP increased 15%, DPS increased 15%. Build time reduced from 48 to 42 seconds. I've actually never seen anyone go Colossus in a game. Perhaps this will change that. Warthog, HP increased 15%, DPS increased 10%. Now I wonder if that works as well for Flame Hogs. I assume they do because it's the same thing, but even though titled differently. Marauders, cost and population. Okay, so cost is lowered from 400 to 320, population reduced from 5 to 4, and missile 70% to 50% slower. Okay, I like this play because Marauders, I always found them useful, especially when you were playing against Locusts. You could put some Marauders in your mix and you could slow down the Locusts from moving up, but they just cost so much money. And now, and they also cost a lot of cap space. Now, something different. I like it. Grizzly damage and health increased slightly. HP for Grizzlies 8% up. DPS increased by 15%. Build times reduced from 58 to 48 seconds. Holy shit! I didn't realize that Grizzlies cost nearly 60 seconds of your time in the previous patch. Now 48 seconds. So I think they match up pretty well with Colossus then, if I'm not mistaken. So it looks like they're doing a fantastic job of balancing everything, or each thing's counterpart, accordingly, and I really like that. I want to see all 12 leaders viable. I don't want to go into a game and see triple Atriox or triple RB. I want to see just a variety of strategies, and I think this will help. So Kodiaks will now fire more often when targets are within range. Post-fire delay reduced from 3 to 3 no, I'm sorry. Post-fire delay reduced from 3 to, I can't, I don't even know. Okay, oh goodness. All right, I'm stroking out here. All right, post-fire delay reduced from 3 to 3.2 seconds to 2.6 to 2.8 seconds, so it's 0.4 seconds faster. About Shrouds now has a slower recharge rate on its anti-projectile defense, and Reavers now have an increased rate of fire, same overall DPS, but overkill has been reduced. Reinstated turrets gaining damage improvements from Fortify upgrades. As always, the Halo Wars 2 team will continue to monitor gameplay, data, and player feedback to help inform future updates and adjustments to balance game mechanics. Please continue to share your feedback on Halo Waypoint. That is it. Okay. Woo! Alright, there was a lot of stuff there. I hope that we have just 12 viable leaders. Maybe if it's not even 12, that's kind of embarrassing because I'm under the impression it's 12 leaders. But regardless, across the board, I really enjoy what I'm seeing. One thing that I want to point out when talking about the scouts, they kind of snubbed Ghosts again. Ghosts are, I guess, just never supposed to be viable in any capacity. Let me just double check that for a second, but I don't think there was any mention of a Ghost. So Shipmaster is still extremely weak in the early game. One thing to touch on with heroes again, just to give you guys a bit of a recap. Let's look at this real quick. Yeah, so nothing mentioned about Ghosts in this. So Jackrabbits are viable, Choppers are viable, Ghosts only with Shipmaster. Go fuck yourself still. Still not viable, whatever. I guess at least Jackrabbits and Choppers are even in the beginning of the game. And across the board, let's just say this. Heroes, going to be more viable if you keep them alive long enough in the long run. You get veterancy on them, you get them upgraded, and it's going to benefit you a lot. It's going to vary in a great way when you start upgrading, when you get that veterancy. And this is fantastic. It's about time that we saw hero units start getting viability, because I think it was a comment the other day where someone said, Hunter Captain's great and he destroys armies, and I said, I have never seen anyone ever go Hunter Captain in any of my games, and I don't know what scenario, I don't know exactly what scenarios everyone gets put in, but from at least my competitive level, which is it ranges from like Onyx to really low on the champion scale, low as in like around the 200 mark. I've never seen anyone go Hunter's Captain. Maybe it's a lower level thing. Maybe it's a troll thing. Or maybe I just got lucky and never went up against someone Hunter's Captain. Regardless, the point is, all the heroes are now viable. Keep them alive. Keep them going. Keep them upgraded. And it gives you more of a reason to get that field armory up even quicker than before. Normally, I would wait to get a field armory on my second base, but now you got to figure out where to implement it and get it as quickly as you possibly can. All the hero units look fantastic across the board. Much more even. Scouts again, Ghosts, fuck yourself. Jackrabbits and Choppers look great. I like the fact that let's look right here real quick. Tier 2 vehicles, Mantis, Warthog, Marauder, have all been put on a similar playing field. Tier 3 UNSC vehicles, Colossus, Grizzly, and Kodiaks have been put on a same level playing field. And notice one thing right here. We haven't really seen anything about the banished vehicles. For example, Wraiths, Banshees, stuff like that. And I'm nervous of two things. Okay, so we didn't see anything with Banshees and Wraiths. What that tells me is that they had an advantage, obviously, over their counterparts. I don't see anything about Hornets though. So Banshees and Hornets, I don't see anything there. I'm almost certain, 100% certain, I'll say 99% certain because I haven't done the match-to-match or the unit-to-unit comparison, but Banshees are anti-air. Banshees are anti-everything. So if you put them up against their counterpart, which is a Hornet, or at least theoretically on paper, the Hornets get destroyed every single time, especially once you get Plasma Torpedo. It's not even a competition. So I'm nervous that they didn't touch on that. And the second thing I'm nervous about is that they didn't compare Wraiths and Scorpions. They didn't really touch on those two things. So perhaps they're just suggesting that now Scorpions are more viable in comparison to Wraiths. Again, these are unit-to-unit tests that we would have to run to figure it out. The only thing I'm concerned about is the fact that they didn't mention it. So some things to still keep an eye on. Banshees have not been touched. Wraiths have not been touched. And it looks like UNSC have altogether been put on a little bit of a more level playing field. I'm interested to see how all of these patch notes get implemented and it's going to be one hectic first 2 weeks of the Season 4, which I think just went live today. Yeah, so Season 4, the first couple weeks, figuring out the meta and everything along with it, because it's going to take a whole bunch of new strategies. Things have changed. It's going to take a little bit. I hope you guys enjoy what you guys have been receiving here from 343 and Creative Assembly. I, for one, am extremely excited about this patch notes list, and I'm super stoked. I think 343 and CA are heading in the proper direction with this patch notes, and I just would bid them to consider at least not. You don't have to touch, you don't have to nerf or do anything to Banshees or Hornets. You don't have to nerf or buff any of them. I'm just saying, take a look at those. If they're even on your guys' side, totally fine, no problem. I'm just concerned that those two things haven't been established yet. And as far as infantry go across the board, nothing's really happened there. So that tells me that things were kind of even, at least on the statistical side of things. All right, that's enough of my rambling. Taking up 21 minutes of your guys' time. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. If you guys spotted anything that I did not see, please leave it down in the comments below. I will try to respond to as many comments and questions as I can. And as always, guys, have a fantastic night, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.